Thank you very much, John. Now I'm going to introduce Bill Moore-Kilgannon. Bill is currently the Executive Director of Public Interest Alberta. Previously, Bill worked in Ottawa as the Director of Campaigns and Communications of the Council of Canadians, and he served as the Executive Director of the Parkland Institute at the University of Alberta. So I'd like to welcome Bill.
I want to thank John and the whole team at the Social Planning Council and to the Alberta College of Social Workers, Laurie, and the Faculty of Social Work, as well as the United Way of the Alberta Capital Region and all the sponsors that have made today's possible. We're here at this forum with the release of this report to challenge not only the provincial government, but all of us to follow through on the commitment to eliminate poverty in Alberta. The Premier's promise to eliminate child poverty in 5 years is a bold commitment that will only be achieved if it is matched with an equally bold and comprehensive approach to address the root causes of poverty. And so this report and our presentations here today are here to talk about real solutions that we're calling on the government to include in the soon-to-be-released social policy framework. And if you look inside the report there, John's talked about the details and the numbers. The second half of the report is very much focused on those solutions. We know what to do, in fact. We've seen from other jurisdictions success. We see from here incredible work going on. And that's why the first recommendation that we're putting forward is to build upon what is already working. We've talked to so many organizations, frontline people, and they're doing phenomenal work. But the fact of the matter is they're stretched beyond their capacity to move forward. The second thing we want to do is to introduce an Alberta child tax benefit to enhance the federal child tax benefits. Other provinces like Ontario have gone down this road. We think it's a very effective way of moving forward. The administrative costs would be incredibly low, and it would make a huge difference in the lives of many, many families. We also know that poverty is different around the province, and we think the third recommendation on looking at place-based initiatives is very, very important. Organizations like Vibrant Communities Calgary and others have been focused on how do we address poverty at a community level, and there needs to be all sorts of solutions put forward and brought forward around that. We need to look at increasing and indexing income supports. For many categories of families that are out there, we have some of the lowest income supports in Canada by far. And we think in such a wealthy province where it's actually very expensive to live, we absolutely need to be looking at those income support programs and making them indexed to the high rate of inflation we often get here. We need to change the rules to allow low-income people to build assets. I know the United Ways have been doing excellent work on looking at assets and asset policies and what needs to change in that regard. And that's a very important critical step if we were to move forward. We don't want people having to completely be stripped away of all assets before being given the support that they need to move forward. We need to provide supports to our overstretched frontline public sector staff and the community agencies that are out there. Again, we know that there are lots of people who are on the front line, very dedicated to this work, but they just can't keep up with the demands in front of them. We need to increase the minimum wage and establish living wage policy. Alberta currently has the second lowest minimum wage in Canada, and as you heard from John, if over 50% of low-income children living in low-income families have a parent working full-time, full year, part of the solution has to be on the employment side of the ledger. We need to follow through on the deliver on the plan to end homelessness. This was an excellent commitment that former Premier Ed Stelmach had established in concert with many municipalities, and they are moving forward and having some success on it. However, we need to continue to maintain the political will to address those issues. And we know waiting lists, for instance, Capital Region Health waiting lists, apparently, if you're needing low-income housing, is 2 years, apparently, at this stage. So there's a lot of work to be done in that area. We need to invest in early childhood care and education and expand our literacy programs for new and recent immigrants. Alberta currently spends amongst the lowest of all on our early childhood education and care programs. And we have been advocating as an organization for many years to establish a comprehensive plan, and we're very hopeful that through this process we can look at some serious changes in that regard as well. And finally, we need to target community support for those populations most impacted by poverty. as John has pointed out in the report, women, Aboriginal people, people with disabilities, and recent immigrants and refugees bear a much higher level of poverty than the general population. And so we need to make sure those programs are targeted and looking at the prevention that will allow them to fulfill their full potential. So we know what's needed to be done, and we know that of all places, Alberta can actually achieve this promise. Unfortunately, many in the provincial government seem to not want to invest any new funding to achieve this goal. So it will be up to citizens and civil society organizations to keep pressing for a real commitment to eliminate poverty in Alberta. Let's all commit to this task ahead so that in 5 years we will be celebrating the elimination of our most disturbing deficit, poverty, the real deficit that prevents all Albertans from reaching their full potential. Thank you.